You've probably spent a few nights scrolling through endless camera reviews, trying to figure out which system will actually sit quietly on your roof or in a corner and just work. No endless menus, no surprise firmware quirks, and definitely no "what did I just paid for" feeling. The goal is simple. You need a security setup that's reliable enough to let you sleep, easy enough that you won't spend a weekend wrestling with configuration, and worth the money you're putting into it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started looking at 4K home security kits, the first thing I asked myself was whether the extra pixels would actually make a difference when I'm watching from my phone on a commute. A lot of kits promise Ultra HD, but end up delivering grainy footage at night or buffering forever because the storage solution is an afterthought. That's why the REOLINK 16-channel 4K bullet camera system caught my eye. It bundles a 4TB hard drive right out of the box, which means you don't have to hunt for a separate NAS or pay extra cloud fees. The promise of a plug-and-play power over Ethernet setup also sounded like it could cut down the typical installer headaches. I spent a weekend actually wiring the system in a friend's house that's about the size of a small office. The post switch was the only thing we needed to plug the cameras into. There's no separate power brick for each bullet, which saved a lot of cable clutter. Within an hour, the 16 cameras were online, and the REOLINK app instantly pulled up live feeds. No search for device prompts, no firmware updates that forced a reboot in the middle of a recording. The app's interface is straightforward, just a grid of thumbnails, a tap to zoom, and a simple timeline for playback. For someone who isn't a tech geek, that simplicity is a real win. Now, let's talk about the image itself. The 8-megapixel sensors really do capture a lot of detail. When a delivery driver pulled up to the front door, the footage showed the license plate clearly enough that I could read the last 2 digits without zooming in too far. In daylight, colors are accurate, and the wide dynamic range handles the occasional glare from a streetlight without turning the whole scene into a whiteout. The real test, though, is low light. The system uses a built-in infrared illuminator on each bullet, and while the footage does go monochrome after dark, the subjects remain recognizable. You can still tell a person from an animal, which brings us to the AI detection feature. Person, vehicle, and animal detection is baked into the firmware, and it actually reduces the number of false alerts you get. During the test period, the system sent me about 3 alerts per day: a neighbor's cat strolling across the porch, a delivery van pulling up, and a person walking the perimeter at night. The app lets you filter out the animal alerts if you only want to be notified about people or vehicles, which is handy if you have pets that love to wander. I didn't notice any missed detections every time someone lingered near the back gate. I got a notification within a few seconds. Storage is another place where this kit stands out. The included 4TB HDD is meant for continuous 24/7 recording, and it actually does that without any user intervention. The system overwrites the oldest footage once the disk fills up, which is the standard behavior, but you can also set retention periods for specific zones if you want to keep footage longer for a particular camera. Because the drive is pre-installed, you avoid the extra expense and potential compatibility headaches that come with third-party drives. One downside I noticed is that the drive is not user-replaceable without opening the housing, which could be a concern if you ever need to swap it out for a larger capacity. For most homeowners, 4 terabytes translates to about 30 days of 4K recording at 15 frames per second, which is plenty, but power users might feel limited. So, who should consider this system? If you're a homeowner or small business operator who wants a set-it-and forget solution with high-resolution detail, this kit checks a lot of boxes. It's particularly good for properties with a lot of ground to cover. Think a 2-story house, a garage, a backyard, and a side alley, because the 16-camera layout means you can spread the lenses wherever you need them without buying additional expansions. It also suits people who prefer local storage over cloud subscriptions, which keeps ongoing costs low. On the flip side, if you're just looking for a single camera to watch your front door, the 16-channel kit is overkill, and the price reflects that. Likewise, renters who can't run Ethernet cables through walls or who need a completely wireless solution might find the PO requirement a bit restrictive. The system also isn't the best fit for someone who wants to integrate with a larger smart home ecosystem. REOLINK's app is great on its own, but it doesn't talk natively to platforms like HomeKit, Alexa, or Google Assistant beyond basic live view. Practical.